Hi, I'm Guy.
And I'm Iona.
And together we're
Guy's Guide to Oxford.
And today we're going to take you through
Top 10 things to see and do in Oxford.
Let's go.
Behind us we have the Martyrs Memorial. It's one of the many sticky up things that we have in Oxford City.
Well, it's actually quite an important part of Oxford history, the Martyrs Memorial. I'm sure you all have heard of the English Reformation. This was part of the wider Protestant Reformation throughout Europe, during which a number of people were burned at the stake for their Protestant beliefs. So we commemorate them today with the Martyrs Memorial, which continues to be one of the central focal points of Oxford and its history.
Because it's sticky up.
So as I mentioned earlier, this is now one of the history faculty buildings. This is the history library, and you're able to study here predominantly for history, but you can do any other subject. No, you won't be able to find your books here, but if you bring them along, you can work at one of the desks.
Yes, we have over 100 libraries here in Oxford. Because the Radcam is so central and so iconic, most people do tend to come here. Welcome to Oxford's castle and prison. Don't waste your time, don't come here. It's a fake castle.
This isn't the castle. The castle used to be on the Mall, built in Saxony.
Okay, so this is the Mount, as Guy said, where the castle used to be. Things have changed slightly.
So behind you over here, you can see the older castle, the newer part you saw out there on the street. This goes back all the way to the 13th century, where we were originally imprisoning naughty students. So if you come to Oxford, be warned. Welcome to Pusey House. Now this is actually my church. It's not just a church, it's also a community. They have accommodation here, a fantastic library. They put on something called Scriptorium, where you can work and have tea and biscuits and lunch put on for you, and it's a truly marvellous place.
If you like high church, this place has all the smells and bells with the incense swinging. It's fantastic. My favourite part is the library. They do have the comfortable armchairs and the free tea and coffee, like Guy said, and the books are not alarmed. You can go and sit next to old books and not worry about having security guards come along.
That sounds a bit like you've got kleptomania. So with us now is Father George Westhaver, one of the leading lights of Oxford, and perhaps you could tell us a little bit about Pusey, what it means to work here as part of the Oxford community.
Pusey House is a kind of a combination of a place of worship, a place of study, community life, and what I love most about it, I suppose, is that it's a place where kind of a serious worship and engagement with theology goes along with study and academic life in the context of community. And so it's those three things together which I like most: worship, study, and the community life.
Sounds perfect.
Welcome to Oxford's really big, really old tower.
This is actually the oldest tower in Oxford, dating back to the 11th century, built by the Saxons and forming part of this slightly newer church, St Michael in Northgate. Apparently, I'm told it has a very good priest who can give good sermons. So if you're interested in Common Book of Prayer, that's where to go. We're now walking along Queen's Lane, which will lead on to New College Lane. is one of the really charming back streets of Oxford, which takes you off the High Street and round through towards New College, around the back of Queen's College, and all the way up to the Sheldonian and Bodleian Library, right in the centre of all Oxford's academic arts. Most people don't know about it until they come a bit later on, sometimes via a tour. So it's a lovely thing to find a bit later on in your time in Oxford, or by watching these videos.
Of course, that's how I got to know about this place, was from when you took me here.
Of course, when I took you here, it was later in the day. It was one of the most charming times to walk down this road, particularly in the late afternoon in the winter or towards nighttime in the summer, where you have these lovely old former gas lamps, which are right up on the walls, as well as this beautiful stone colonnade right in the gloaming of the evening. And it's often just you minutes later on, walking there, and you can hear the organ music sometimes playing from the other colleges. It's utterly charming.
But of course, Oxford is charming in all seasons, not just the winter.
Here we are at the Bridge of Sighs. Although it's weird that it's called the Bridge of Sighs when it looks nothing like the original Bridge of Sighs in Venice.
Well, that's because we didn't want to associate death and execution with the Bridge of Sighs in Venice with studenthood.
I don't know, that sounds pretty accurate about your time at Oxford.
In terms of good stories, Brideshead Revisited has a scene here with Jeremy Irons climbing out of one of the windows here at Hertford College. Thoroughly recommend that series. Here in tropical Oxford, we do have one very significant landmark, which many people miss.
This here marks the spot where all the Oxford martyrs were burned during the Reformation. In particular, the most famous ones were Thomas Cranmer, who wrote the Book of Common Prayer, and then also Bishop Latimer and Ridley. In fact, Bishop Latimer and Ridley were burned together, and my favourite dark joke in history comes from their burning. Now, I forget which one exactly, but let's say Bishop Latimer turns to Bishop Ridley as they were tied to the stake and told him, "Be of good cheer, my dear Mr. Ridley. On this day we shall light such a candle as will never be put out across all England." That there. Right now, we are standing in the quadrangle of the old Bodleian Library.
Of course, when I wanted to come to Oxford as a little girl, I would visit each different room around here and dream about coming to Oxford one day.
This is the central part of Oxford's ancient academia. All these different rooms around us are where the old original lecture halls would be, where the trivium and the trivium were taught. Also, this is where all the books from the original library are kept. There are 13 million books stored here, mostly underground in miles and miles of shelving. Such an impressive and wonderful book. I'm so excited to go into as a student. And similarly, when I was a little kid, I remember that I would not let myself go in here until I eventually went into Oxford. So I would look through the gateways, just hoping one day I would, and it was so exciting that first time as a student that I was able to come to the Bodleian. And of course, if you are a student at the Bodleian, you're able to not only to work here, but also go inside and visit both the Divinity School, really old lecture hall where they used to teach theology, and then up above the two conference reading room is actually where they taught a bit of literature as well as did some filming for Harry Potter. Harry Potter is a very different film.
It was the Forbidden Library. The thing about Bodleian, yes, Guy, you're right, it has 13 million books here. You're not allowed to take them out.
That would be because it's a deposit pipe.
As well as a reference site.
As well as
David. So when King Charles I came here and asked to borrow a book, he was denied. So it doesn't matter if you're a king, no one's allowed to take the books out.
Here we are at St Mary's Church. This is the university church. Essentially, it functions a bit like the cathedral for the university. It is the central church of the university where, although all the colleges have their own chapels, everyone can come along for major services and ceremonies at the central church.
Indeed, isn't it? Where a certain important member of the university was lecturing.
Indeed, we used to have, as we mentioned earlier on in our video with Oriel College, that there was a great Saint John Henry Newman, who used to be both the chaplain at Oriel as well as the rector here at St Mary's, and gave some of his most famous sermons here.
Yeah, some, you're only allowed one, but he got 17. Lucky guy. If you want the best view in all of Oxford, you can pay a few pounds to climb to the top of the tower and have 360-degree views of the Radcliffe Square. Would thoroughly recommend on a beautiful sunny day like this. This has been our top 10 things to see in Oxford.
Thanks for watching Guy's Guide to Oxford. And until we meet again,
Stay marvellous.